hard time getting in.
Again, I apologize. I am so sorry this happened. And if you are a Zoom user, if you could tell me your name or change your name, that would be wonderful, so we know who you are. And Craig, I'm going to give folks another 60 seconds here to hopefully make the transition. And
hey, Miss Karen.
Hey, y'all.
Lana Foster from Valdosta.
Ah, hey, Alana.
Mary Alice, just a little late to the party.
Hey,
No,
Mary Alice is on board. Yay.
Hey, Richard Kelly. Hey, Rosa Drayton. Hey, Deborah Simons, our friend.
Hello, everyone. Robin McDonald.
So glad we are having a party today. And if this had happened 2 years ago when the pandemic started, none of us would be here because we wouldn't have known how to go through and hunt through this. So we are recording this, so I'll put it on our YouTube page for people who haven't joined us or won't be able to join us today. But I am really excited that Craig Carter, Executive Director, Dr. Craig Carter, Executive Director of GAE, is joining us today. Craig has been with us for over a year. It seems like 2 years, Craig. Are we going on 2 years?
Yeah, 2 years, 4 months. Can you believe that? 2 years, 4 months.
Well, that is wonderful. And I don't want to steal any of Craig's thunder, but I am going to just say GAE as a state affiliate will be the only affiliate in NEA's history to regain having an NEA director back on the NEA board. We lost one because our membership numbers fell, and we have built back up, and we are in happy land in terms of doing that. I mean, you should be GAE proud at this point in time, and that is thanks to Dr. Craig Carter. So Craig, if you want to monologue for a while, and I don't know how you want to handle Q&A, but thank you for joining us, and I look forward with everything you have to share.
Thanks. It means a lot. Thanks, Karen. I'm glad we were able to figure out technology this morning. I want to say good morning to everyone. I kept trying to log in. We got a lot of things going on at headquarters today. We have GAE all staff meeting. So all staff is in the board of director, your boardroom right now. And I finished my part this morning, and now Mike McGonigal, our general counsel, is going over some legal services things with them. And then we're going to be celebrating 3 retirements this evening for 3 of our employees who have combined close to 40 years of experience who are retiring, and we're wishing them well on their way. So it's a really busy day at headquarters, but I did not want to miss this opportunity to see all of you all, because GAE Retired is such a huge part of our success too. And what an amazing 2 years and 4 months it's been since your board of directors hired me as your executive director. So not only am I the executive director, but I also hold some other hats that I wear too. I'm the field manager, so I manage all UniServe directors, and was a UniServe director close to 13 years in Kentucky for our sister affiliate, the Kentucky Education Association, and then left Kentucky and became the field manager and eventually the executive director for Louisiana. And upon being hired by your board of directors, you know, we had lost close to 15,000 members in the past, 5 years or so. So I was tasked with coming in and working with our staff to develop them into the UniServe directors that they needed to be per their job description, but also being the field manager and being out there with them and recruiting and modeling really great recruitment and making sure that GAE is highly visible. And thank you all for having me on and the part that you all have played in membership recruitment. Just like I told our staff this morning, membership is everyone's job, all the way from the executive director to our local governance leaders, to our aspiring educators, to our retirees. It's everyone's job, because without membership, my infamous words always, even from the time you all hired me, without membership, there is no GAE. Without membership, our staff do not have jobs. Without membership, we do not have political power under the Gold Dome. Without membership, we don't have the power to bring about change to make sure that GAE is the preeminent voice for public education in Georgia. And we have put GAE on the map. Within a year and a half, we went from being 49th in the nation for membership growth to #1 in the nation for membership growth. And you say, Craig, how did we do that? We changed a culture. We changed a culture of who we are as a union, who we are as an association, what is expected on my end. I'm not over governance, I'm over staff, but making sure there's accountability, making sure that staff have the resources, the coaching that they need to be successful in the field. And at the end of the day, to make sure that members' needs are taken care of, because that's why we exist. That's why we are the Georgia Association of Educators. And before I get to your question and answers, Karen, I wanted to share with you all some really neat, I hope I have sharing privileges, Karen, or you can give me that. I want to share with you all some really neat data from the National Education Association that you all should certainly take pride in and be proud as well.
You should be able to share, Craig.
Thank you. Okay, can everyone see this right now? Shake your head so I know. Okay, you can see it.
Yeah.
So here's some exciting data for you all. This actually was pulled this morning, and I shared it with our staff. Just this year, GAE has recruited, are y'all ready for this? With early enrollment, back to school, new teacher orientations, I set a precedence down that staff had to be at any and all new teacher orientations and back to school events. If you love Facebook, I hope you follow the Georgia Association of Educators. You've been able to see President Morgan, your state president. You've seen your retired president, Miss Tony Smith, and many of your retired governance leaders. You've seen myself and our staff all across the state of Georgia. GAE set a record year for early enrollment. If you see this graph, you see almost a 10-year comparison of the Georgia Association of Educators in early enrollment. NEA offers early enrollment to all state affiliates. It doesn't matter now if they have never been a member, they're a potential member, or they have been a member and they dropped their membership. They have a right to come back now and take part in early enrollment from the spring up to September the 1st. This is a wonderful opportunity for our potential members to become members of the Georgia Association of Educators, and it gives them a chance to take part in all member benefits without paying any dues until September 1st. Well, you can look at this year going into 23, where we're at 23 going into 24. We are off the charts. Just this year, the Georgia Association of Educators recruited 1,951 new early enrollees. That surpasses last year's number of 1,653. We are off the charts. Unprecedented recruitment numbers over the past 10 years. I dedicate that to our hardworking staff, our local governance leaders, our state president, and you all of you, our GAE retired, who continually assist actives in recruiting new members, as well as recruiting, as you all do. You'll look at our numbers in a minute for our overall GAE membership numbers. But early enrollment, check that out. It's off the charts. It's the highest it's ever been for the state of Georgia, and I would say in the history of the Georgia Association of Educators. And it's something that I'm particularly proud of. This early enrollment number is broken down between active professionals, which means our certified members are those that are degree bearing or hold degree bearing jobs. And then our active education support professionals, which is identified in the blue. And then you see our aspiring educators, which is in the red. Skylar Nunley leads that program up, does a phenomenal job. If you follow GAE Facebook, you know, GAE in the state of Georgia is so unique. Our public school employees start to school so early into the summer. They start back mid-July, and Skylar is working equally hard right now as college and universities follow that to increase that number too. Are y'all ready for this? For the new teacher orientation and back to school events, GAE has recruited 2,965 new members. Yeah, you all should clap about that. That is so awesome. GAE is second in the nation for early enrollment, right behind Michigan, the Michigan Education Association. And if you all don't know how huge that is, let me give you a little background. Michigan is a collective bargained agreement agency fee state, to where when you look at Detroit, you look at Lansing, Michigan, that means when those individuals come in as new employees, they are automatically a member of the Michigan Education Association. So they already have the advantage that they are already NEA members. Whereas us being a Southern Zone 2 state affiliate in the South, and we are bypassing state affiliates, and we're up there with the top dogs who even have collective bargaining, and we are outpacing them. There is no better time for recruitment in Georgia. I often refer to it as just like fruit from a fallen vine. We have put so much of a hurt on competing organizations in Georgia that they've had to meet and they've had to reorganize. And Georgia, GAE is the topics of PAGE. They are topics of the other competing organizations in Georgia, because they just can't keep up at the rate that GAE is growing. And that is super, super exciting to me. If we break that down and we look at that new member recruitment from early enrollment, not only have we recruited 2,965 new members by September the 1st, but out of that number, 2,106 are active members, meaning they are certified professionals or they are education professionals, education support professionals, meaning our bus drivers, our cafeteria workers, our school resource officers. GAE is #1 in the nation for membership increase all across the board, but also we lead the way among all state affiliates for the highest number of increase in education support professionals, and that's exciting. 4 of those in that number are retired. 1 is a substitute. 854 are aspiring educators. So that number is continuing to grow, and we're so fortunate. I'm so thankful for our board of directors, because when I arrived here, I brought up to them and President Morgan the fact that we need, as an association, to be capturing those students when they are in year 1 of their freshman year, or perhaps even when they're in high school and they're seeking dual credit and they're wanting to be educators. We need to be reaching them from the high school to the undergrad. And we decided to offer, and our board of directors, I have to give the credit to them, to decide to offer them free GAE Aspiring Ed membership at the collegiate level, because if we can offer that to them and expose them to GAE and NEA, at the college level, we have a way better chance of reaching them to when they show up at the NTOs and back to school and they're new hired locals. They will already be familiar with GAE and what we stand for and our mission and our values. And they will be exposed to the National Education Association and become automatic members. We're already seeing the benefits of that in the past 2 years by what you're looking at right now. This is new member recruitment for this year, 2024. Which we're already in on September 1st. Check out that light gray that you see here shows you the 23-24 year. Notice how we're outpacing 21, 22, and 2021. It's pretty phenomenal. And right now in the year to date, you see how those numbers are and where we're looking at the total membership as a whole. What we don't want to see as a state affiliate is seeing ourselves fall under previous years. And we're right on target to outpace the year 2022 for 2023-24 and continue to rise where we need to be. It's so exciting, as Ms. Solheim just said. We are the only state affiliate in the history of the National Education Association to not only regain a GAE board of director back on the NEA board of directors, but to do it in such record time. And I'm really, really proud of that as your executive director. This year, we have targeted locals throughout the state. Check this graph. We're also off the charts on it. We have a set of targeted locals. President Morgan has helped and been very helpful and responsible for this. She's reached out to all her local presidents. We wanted some buy-in. We wanted some skin in the game from our local presidents. If they wanted some funding from GAE and NEA through our year-round organizing grant, they had to prove to us that they had a local governance structure and that they had ARs that were newly identified or current ARs that were placed and put in place, that they would be a targeted local. This year, I was able to write a year-round organizing grant for the Georgia Association of Educators through the NEA. And we are super, super impressed and happy with that. We received a $176,000 grant from the National Education Association because they've seen firsthand how GAE is growing in record numbers and wanted to be a part of that. And they put forth $176,000 so that we could put forth the same reason why the staff is meeting today. We are targeted locals to hold fall membership blitz. Would love GAE retired to join us on some of those blitz. We can also utilize money to pay for your mileage, pay for your hotel, your eats when you join us, to go into some of our targeted locals that we have identified to recruit potential members. So far in our targeted locals since September the 1st. Folks, I don't know if you look, but today's just September the 6th. So just this year with early enrollment and for work, GAE has recruited 1,053 new members in these targeted locals, and that is so exciting. If you look down here for the membership recruitment by race, you will also see that we're outpacing Black membership compared to past years. You say, well, Dr. Carter, what do you think is the reason for that? I'll tell you what the reason for that is. The truth is the reason for that. And changing the culture of GAE when I first arrived and I did one-on-one meetings with our staff who I manage. I met with President Morgan. We talked with local leaders. One of the things that I witnessed is that GAE is very unique, like many other southern states, and that at one time there was a Black association and there was a white association, just like we had here in Georgia. And the NEA, after the civil rights movement came about, and said, you know, it's not going to fly anymore. It's not going to happen. You're going to have to be wall to wall. If you want us to continue to be your mother association, the Black association, the white association must merge. They must come together as one. And there were certain individuals, particularly white superintendents and white principals, that said, No, we're not ready for that yet. We're going to have the Professional Association of Georgia Educators. So when I arrived here and met with our staff one-on-one as a whole, and I observed them recruiting in their field, it might be very reasonable to say, I'll use Robin McDonald because she's one of our freshly new, one of my GAE former board of directors that has joined the ranks of you and GAE retired. If I observed a UNISERV director recruiting, and I'm just going to use DeKalb as I'm going to pick on them. It's not that I necessarily saw it there, but I observed the UNISERV director. Robin may have come up to the table and the UNISERV director may say, hi, how are you doing? What's your name? And she might say, I'm Robin McDonald. And they might say to her, are you a member of the Georgia Association of Educators? And Robin, thank God she's a proud GAE member, she might have said, no, I'm Paige. And that UNISERV director might have said, well, that's fine as long as you're a member of something. That doesn't fly anymore in the land of GAE. That's not what I'm paying UNISERV directors to do. And we had to say, no, 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 we got to step back. So we had to go back and we had to research our history. We researched the videos that you all produce. I think about Debbie Simons on here, former GAE president, who's featured in that video talking about the history of GAE. Where we don't want to ever be is forget our roots and where we came from. And all of the blood, sweat, and tears that has happened by the governance and leadership before us to get where we are today. So we did, role playing. We did, mock recruitment activities to where we tell the truth. We give the history of GAE. We talk about where we originated and where we come from. And we tell those people, we're here today to bring you to the light. You need to be a member of the preeminent association. You need to be a member of the association where you're covered local, state, and nationally. And then when they like to say, well, their dues are cheaper. Well, you get what you pay for, right? We talked about analogies. If all you're worried about is liability, then yeah, liability. But when I go get a car and I get insurance, I want full coverage. I want full insurance. We gave analogies, and we have been able to flip an astonishing amount of members from Page to the Georgia Association of Educators. Just in 2 years alone, we have been able to take away over 3,500 new members away from Page. That is huge. It is big. And the way we've been able to do that is delineate the differences between the two organizations. And my favorite quote, there's no good substitute for the truth. So we're seeing the dividends. We're seeing that pay off. And you don't have to take my word for that. Look at the graphs, look at the numbers that come straight from the National Education Association. Our targeted locals for the year 23-24, many of you may have taught in some of these targeted locals, and we could use your help recruiting in these locals. They are Atlanta, Chatham, Clayton, Cobb, Doherty, Fulton, Gwinnett, the organization of DeKalb Educators, ODE, and Richmond County. And you see an overall comparison here of where they were in 2015 and where we are in 2024. Many of those locals are already outpacing yearly numbers, and we're only 6 days in the new year. Specifically, Cobb County. Cobb County's goal was 160 for the whole year, and they're already at 272 new members because they had such a successful back-to-school campaign. They also have a new full-time release president who is also, like Debbie, a former GAE president, Mr. Jeff Hubbard. They also have a new UNISERV director, Ms. Renita Whitrack, who started employment yesterday, and I'm so excited to see all the work they're going to be doing there this year. There's no doubt about that number's been further increased by legal issues that we've had going on. Miss Katie Renderall being terminated for reading a book about acceptance on My Shadow is Purple, which basically says that we are all unique in our own ways and diversity should be valued. And shame on a Cobb County school district who bellied down to a committee of peers that voted to go against the superintendent's decision in the tribunal and uphold Miss Katie, who was one of our GAE members, returning her back to employment and work, and having a school board majority, with the exception of 3 Democrat school board members that voted that she return back to work too. We're already working on a strategic plan to take out some of those board members and working hard to work with the National Education Association, where we also receive grant funding, to set a precedence that that type of behavior is not going to be accepted here, specifically around rogue legislation that our own member went to her principal and bought the book from the Scholastic Book Fair and said, hey, what does divisive concepts mean? And having a principal that could not even carefully articulate what that law meant, nor a superintendent. So that's now going into federal legislation with a lawsuit that will be going forth federally, fully funded by the National Education Association for us. So we're really excited. That 272 number, we just in the past 3 weeks have had over 60 something new library media specialists join the Georgia Association of Educators because of the great work that local's doing, GAE and NEA, because what people are recognizing that are public school employees is that GAE is the only association that will have your back legally, and where you don't have to call a 1-800 number and receive an automated response from a competing organization, that you have a local president, that you have a UNISERV director, that you have a state president, that you have a retired association that's putting GAE on the spot. So I'm particularly proud of that. It's not been easy. It's been a little rough along the way, because as I manage just staff, you either want to work and we want to collegiately work together as a group of staff members, as a team, hashtag Team GAE. And if not, you will be evaluated and you got to get out of the way, because we want to have people in that are working. And when we sign a new member up, or we promise our members that we're going to deliver these services, we want to make sure that those services are happening and that they are occurring. And I can reassure you, as GAE retired, they are occurring, they are happening, or we would not be getting these record numbers. And I'm so particularly proud of that. So proud that GAE, I wrote another grant, and GAE received the largest grant for the year 24. Georgia, out of all state affiliates, received a $300,000 grant from the National Education Association. We're calling it Maximizing the Metro. Every targeted local that you see here, every UNISERV director is in that boardroom today planning a blitz for fall as well as spring and winter, where we will be all traveling to that school district that you see here on your screen, and we will be doing a blitz and heavily recruiting in every work site. And NEA will be sending in fellows as well as other individuals to help GAE staff. President Morgan and I will be along to recruit in those locals throughout the year. But we have a potential just in the metro of close to 90,000 potential members that are just waiting out there to be asked to join the Georgia Association of Educators and the NEA. So stay tuned. I'm really excited about it. Karen?
Craig, if you could just be a little bit more enthusiastic about your work, I would appreciate that.
It's a passion. And, I told our staff that too. I think that's what separates great governance leaders. I think that's what separates good staff, great staff. I met and did a one-on-one with my UNISERV directors when I first arrived in 2020. And one of my employees, she said she had lost her passion for this work. And I said, then this may not be a good fit for you anymore, because if you do union work or you take on a leadership role. I can say the same about governance because I used to be in governance. That's how I was raised up. I was a teacher, right, in Kentucky, and I was started out as a building rep, which that's what we called them back now. Nowadays we're ARs, association reps, kind of dating myself a little bit. But, I'll never forget joining back in 1998, 99. And I look back about the passion then and passion now. And I told that employee, you may need to think about another career because this type of work, you have to have a passion. I look at you all today on this retired call. I see all you in your little boxes. You're not getting paid to be on this today. You have a passion for it. You believe in it. You've laid down the foundation from where we are today and still helping us do that groundwork. And I just attribute that, Karen, to the passion for the work. And I have good days and I have frustrating days, bad days too. But I think at the end of the day, like I told our staff today, when you've made a difference in one member's, their life, to their livelihood, to keep their job, or deal with them from a rogue superintendent or a principal, or you've helped a principal from a rogue superintendent. I've seen that happen too. Or you've helped a superintendent from a rogue school board. I mean, that's why we exist, right? That's why we're here, to help our members do their jobs so that they can educate the students and the children of Georgia. And we never lose sight of that. I think that's who we are as an organization. And I think that passion is spilling out into our work. And I appreciate you recognizing that, Karen. But, I have my days too, and some days can be very frustrating. But at the end of the day, if we know why we do the work we do, and we're helping our members, then we know we're successful, and we're seeing that in our numbers. And I can't be the only sole person to take credit for that, because it's all of us. We have a phenomenal state president, Lisa Morgan. I say this all the time. She wears me out, and I know I wear her out half of the time. We got a great GAE retired group. We got a great aspiring educator group now. Demetrius Dove, our state president of the aspiring educators, was just elected at the NEARA to serve on the board of directors and beat out very large groups of aspiring educators to regain that. And so we see a whole culture change at GAE. Are we perfect? No, we're not there yet. We're growing every day on how we look at organizing. When I got here, we were just a servicing association. Well, we've learned that in our culture of organizing, it has to be servicing, right? But it also has to be on the ground organizing. UniServe directors are expected to be in schools 3 days a week, conducting work site visits. When I got here, we were getting 0 new members a week. The first year, we started getting 30 new members a week. I know you see it because we post them every week on Facebook. Now we're averaging 300 members weekly. No other state affiliate. No, don't get it confused. No other state affiliate is doing that in the nation right now. And that's where it's exciting for us, because NEA is pouring money into Georgia because they want to be a part of this success. And I need your help. I need all of you all. I need you. I see you on here in all the little boxes. Please come out and help us. It's a fun experience. We'll pay your mileage. We'll pay your food. We'll pay for your hotel. But depending on your schedule, we'd love for you to join us in some of these locals to help us recruit and continue to build this capacity, because I can't do it without you all. It takes all of us. Okay.
Greg, if you'll stop sharing screen for a minute, and while you're doing that, because that way we can see each other. As you noticed in the chat, some people are already say, yes, pick me, for these targeted local and other school visits. So, I'm all about the logistics. How will people, especially retired members, be able to know about the opportunities and say, hey, I'm in? What do you have that fleshed out yet so people can come on board?
I actually do. One thing I don't ever want to do is overstep the boundary as executive director over governance. What I would say, if you have interest, please send your name to your officers, you know, obviously Tony, Karen, any of them, send it to them and say, hey, like Dr. Carter said, I would be interested in attending some blitzes. You know, you decide which ones, you know, you'd like to, or you may say, I'll go to any of them, Craig, you know, just put me down, because we will pay your mileage and the hotel and your eats while you're there with us. But just supply them your name, your contact information, the best number to get a hold of you by telephone number. And I will take that and I will get that from your governance and make sure that our UniServe directors have that, and we will get you scheduled. We just started our running log today, like we did our NTOs for back to school. We did a Google Doc tracker. So they're coming up with that today as I'm here presenting with you all. The staff's in there working diligently around that and getting training today. So once we get that up and running, I will get the list of dates to Miss Tony Smith and to Miss Karen Solheim, and we will share that with you all when those blitzes are going to occur all throughout the year, so you can check your retired schedule that I'm very envious of. You know, I look on here, I see Debbie Simons, and she always talks to our board and our active members about retirement. You know, our early career educators, they don't think any of that, you know, and I'm getting to the point in time, I'm like, whoa, you know, I'm so envious of our retired group. But the great part about that, even though you all are retired, many of you still work. So the great part of that is check your schedules. We need you. I need you. Lisa needs you. And it's a good time. You know, we come out and we bring them lunch and we bring them meals and we give out swag and we sign people up. And whenever we do a blitz, we average anywhere from 150 to 300 new members, especially in some of our larger locals. So I would love to have you all. So in the spirit of the chain of command in the world of state affiliates and NEA, let your local leader and president know, and they can pass it off to me. Okay, Karen?
And also, Craig, this invite to the lunch bunch went out to GAE members also. So we may have some people on their lunch hour, TE. If they're interested, could they reach out to their local UniServe director and say, hey, blitz me?
Absolutely. They can. If you're an active member, current, certified, or ESP on here, just contact your UniServe director. And they're all throughout the region. If you're not sure who that is, you can go to our new GAE website at gae.org, and you can click on staff. And when you click on staff, you'll receive a map. It's color coded, and find your school district, and that'll let you know the UD you need to contact and say, hey, come visit my school, come blitz my district. Would love that.
So I have one question. So crystal ball time, it's a year from now. You're invited back to speak to our group. Where are we? What are your goals? And what's happening a year from now from GA, besides we have the second director back on the NEA board?
Oh, it's a great question. I'm going to rub my crystal ball here. I want GAE in the past 2 years and 4 months in my tenure being the executive director, we want membership to continue to grow. I want to see GAE back with 40,000 members. That's imperative to me, especially coming from Kentucky, our sister affiliate. You know, I want us to look in more ways that we can increase membership in all membership categories, all the way from aspiring educators to GAE retired. We've been tossing around. I've been working with Tony Smith, talking about receiving grants for GAE retired. We received a Coral one last year. We're going to try to reapply for that again too. We want a new updated video. I talked about Debbie Simons being in the one with past presidents. We'd like to update that. We want to talk about our current past presidents, about things that have occurred through the years. We want to recapture that. I want that to happen. I want us to continue, just as you saw those charts and graphs, to GAE to continue to grow. I think that's imperative. I want to see stronger local associations. We rolled out, when I say we, I'm talking about our board of directors, along with President Morgan, a new program. It was actually picked by the National Education Association, President Morgan, myself, and a member organizer named TJ Lyons from Richmond County. He's an all-star. We signed him up actually in the hotel where he works a second job. He's a teacher, a middle school teacher in the day, and then works as a desk clerk in a hotel. We were actually there for a blitz. We signed him up during the blitz. He is one of our member organizers. He's in the second year, does a phenomenal job. We're going to be presenting how we've changed culture and how we've increased membership in Georgia so other states can learn from that. Part of that change has been through an initiative and program of the GAE Board of Directors. We're thriving and surviving and thriving. And what we've done, we have purposely targeted locals that had a waning infrastructure or they had members, but they didn't have officers. Whereas President Morgan, Dr. Sharon Doe, our vice president, and Carly Shaw, our secretary treasurer, as well as some of our board of directors have served as mentors and mentees during that time to help them. Just last year, we had about 6 elections that had not occurred in several years, that have come about with a new emphasis, I'll get it out in a second, emphasis placed upon building infrastructure, Karen, and GAE retired. And the only way we can sign up members all day long in Georgia, but if there's not a strong local or infrastructure, we really want to bring them back to where we were in our heyday. When I look at many of you, and you served as local officers during that time, and we're getting there because we can sign up members all day long. But if things are not occurring locally, and there's not local meetings happening, and there's not good open communication with the members, you all know what will exactly happen with those members and those new members. They will drop because they will not see any value whatsoever. We can do all we want at the national level. We can do all we want at the state level, but if things are not occurring locally, then we will lose members. And thank goodness, our board of directors, along with President Morgan and your state governance, have taken heed to that. And we have grants in place that we want that. So in a year, 2 years, 5 years, I want to see officers, Karen, in every single local. I want to see association reps or building reps in every single work site in Georgia. And we're not there, but we're getting there, right? And I think that that is exciting. I want to see more UniServe directors hired so that our current UDs don't have such a large demographic area to serve. We're already seeing that. We just hired a new UniServe director, and we're getting ready through the Maximizing the Metro grant to hire another UD for the metro area that will be responsible for 5 building visits a week, organizing to help us identify ARs and potential new leaders in those school districts. So that's exciting. And last but not least, what I want to see, there will be no more professional association of Georgia educators. GAE will have taken over Georgia, just like I know it's already doing right now. And you say, how do you know that? Because I'm out there in the field with our staff, and those page representatives, I've told them, come to the bright side, apply. I have some openings. And they said, Dr. Carter, y'all are putting a hurt on us, a bad hurt. We had to have 3 meetings just this summer, and all they would talk about was GAE, 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 and what you all are doing. So that, my goal as an executive director is that we will regain our preeminent voice and our power and our structure. And I see that happening, and I see that occurring. And that's thanks to you all too, GAE retired, and the work that you do along with your GAE officers. I hope that answers your question, Karen.
I think so. Excitedly, yes. We have about 5 minutes left before we go and do announcements at the end. So who else has a question besides me? Patrick, you'll need to unmute, my friend.
I do have a question. Craig, one of our missed opportunities, and I talked to the NEA retired grants, and I was wondering how we could get together with the substitute, because a lot of them are retirees. That goes along with the Coral grant, and it also goes along with active. If we could actually come up with a grant to organize the substitutes so they will have protection in the classroom, that would be a category that we could really get. And the more people we have on our side, the less work we have to do in the legislature. So I'm looking at it from a real broad perspective, there. And I was just wondering how we can partner, how I can work with you to make that happen. And on a side note, AFT has been real active in Alabama trying to get Mobile. They were at the same school I was at. They got one, I got 3 members. But we want them gone too.
Right. I think that's a good question. We do have Coral grant money that GAE secured thanks to your state officers. And I don't mean just Lisa, I'm talking about your state GAE retired officers, that you all were awarded that from NEA, and just a handful of states were, and we're eligible to reapply for that. So that money can be used to target, we want all of our membership categories to be very robust and healthy. So, substitute teachers, there's a lot of them. And like you said, Patrick, that are retired and they don't know that they can join that membership category. We certainly can use money for that. If that's some initiative that you all want to do, we can certainly push, just like we were doing our professional development. And we can hold a statewide training. We can talk about member benefits just for Georgia substitutes, because there are a lot of substitutes and there's a huge shortage with that, as you know, as well. And they pull them from all walks of life and careers. So if that's something that you all would like to tackle and like to do, we have the capability and the technology needs to put together a mobilized to where we can put together, like we're doing today, the lunch bunch, just a meeting, and encourage substitute teachers of Georgia to attend it and sign them up and talk about the benefits that they receive by going into Georgia classrooms and the coverage that they need as a substitute. Okay.
One more question before we do announcements. So Craig, go ahead.
This isn't a question, but we have a new UniServe with AAE. And for the life of me, we've been trying to get him to give us a list of the members. We were really trying to get a list of the members who retired with AAE last school term, and no answer, no response. He just doesn't respond. I'm really not sure why.
Okay. Thank you for that, Gwen. If there's any time, like I said, not only am I the executive director, but I'm currently the field manager. But thank goodness, going to get a new field manager soon that NEA is paying for, and that's even better. But whenever there's a problem with any UniServe director or staff, I ask that you put that in writing and just email me at Craig.Carter, CRAIG, .Carter, and I'll put it in the chat too, at GAE.org, and let me know the particulars, because if it's not in writing, it didn't happen, right? In the world of management work. But put it in the writing, email me, and I'll address it. Obviously, Gwen, you need membership rosters. That way you know who your current members are, and then who you need to map out strategically for building mapping, who your potential members are. We can get that for you. You obviously too can call the 1-800 number and call the GAE headquarters, and we'll make sure that our membership associates, Ms. Shirlene Voiles or Mr. Keldrick Jackson, will supply that list for you too. But please send me an email regarding that, Gwen, and I'll address it. Okay. I appreciate you bringing it up.
Thank
you. You're so welcome. I say UniServe directors are like a pizza pie. piece of the pie. You know, the Atlanta Association of Educators gets that one piece, but then that UniServe has to share that piece with a lot of other locals too. But just so you know, Gwen, all UniServe directors should return calls within a 24-hour period to our members, and I need to know things like that. So thanks for bringing it up, okay?
Debbie, you had your hand up. You were waving.
Yeah, Dr. Carter and Karen, I hope I'm not speaking out of turn, but more specifically to Gwen's question, as far as a list of retirees, the GAE Retired has finessed working with the teacher retirement system of Georgia to be able to get a list of retirees. That way we know we've got a correct list. So Gwen, I'm not sure that your UniServe director is the one that you need to be talking to. And of course, Dr. Carter can speak to that more specifically. Perhaps, Gwen, it's something that Tony and Karen can provide that information for more appropriately. But I don't know how that list breaks out, Karen. I don't know if it breaks out.
It does. It breaks out by system. So I'm putting my email in the chat too. So
yeah. So in years past, our former UniServe, Michael Sears, was very instrumental in providing that list for us. And so, yeah, I've even asked our president to do it, and still we just haven't gotten it. So the end of the year is already here, and we really wanted to acknowledge those persons. But thank you. I really appreciate your support.
well, I want to thank everybody who transferred technology today to join us for the lunch bunch. And Craig, GAE is in excellent hands with you as at the helm as executive director, and I appreciate your sharing today. Before we bow and curtsy at 12:30, I just want to share with you, you should have received, if you're a retired or pre-retired member, the GAE in the loop on Labor Day. And it always is helpful to read GAE and GAE retired communications to know what's going on. We are going through and we're forming a racial and social justice committee. You're invited to that. And this Friday, we are having our business meeting. I just checked the Zoom link for the business meeting. So hopefully we will all arrive in the correct place for that. GAE writes at night, and you're thinking, okay, well, maybe I'm a retired member. I don't need to know about this. I kind of think, especially if you're going to be doing recruiting in the schools and helping with blitzes and just being part of our profession still, knowing knowledge is power. So that's just a wonderful thing to put on your radar on the 26th of September. And our next retired lunch bunch, again, they're usually held on first Wednesdays from 11:30 to 12:30. We will have an individual talk to us about understanding Alzheimer's. And I've heard this person speak before, and she does an excellent job. So please read through the In the Loop. We're going through and hosting our pre-retirement seminars. And yesterday also, if your email address is correct with GAE, you should have received the GAE Voices monthly email. So please take a look at all that information. If you're signing up pre-retired members or lifetime GAE retired members, September is the best time to do that, because the $450 lifetime membership fee for certified or the $270 membership fee for ESP can be spread over 12 months because it's throughout the GAE membership year, and we start September 1 through August 31st. So monthly payments right now for certified are $37.50 and $22.50 for ESPs. If you need any help figuring out the forms, they really are on the GAE new website. We have a page there. And so membership is everyone's business, and I'm hopeful that you will recruit not only GAE members, but GAE pre-retired members, GAE retired members. And I thank you. It is 12:30, even though we started a little later. I always try to promise we'll end at the 1/2 on this. Thank you, thank you, thank you for everything you do for GAE, GAE retired, and join us early and often for all the good things we have going on. And again, Craig, thank you. I appreciate you.
Hey, thank y'all for having me on. I appreciate all of y'all and what you do. Thank you.
Have a great day. Stay safe. Bye-bye, y'all.
Bye.